Hi everybody, we have author Toby Davis here. She's the author of Ever Part of Always. So give her a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Well, we're just going to play the video. Yeah.
Pardon?
Video's playing. The sound. Yeah.
Thank you all. I am Toby Davis. Call me Toby. And I'm so happy to be here on the first day of the Ottawa International Book Fair. This is my book, The Ever Part of Always, Healy Tucker's first adventure. I'm not sure what happened to the book.
That's okay.
And I'm going to share my short must-do list to help you create your masterpiece. Things that I've learned that may be of interest to you, some you may already know and employ. Others may be new, but I think about whenever I write, and I highly recommend that you give them a try. Here.
There you go.
Thanks. Ta-da! There it is. Okay. However, before I begin sharing these tips with you, you may want to know just a little bit about me. And so I'm going to give you the nutshell version of my credentials, so you know a tiny bit of where I'm coming from. Is this microphone too echoey? Would it be better without a microphone?
No, they won't be able to hear. They won't be able to hear you at all.
Okay.
That's just the room, unfortunately.
All right. It's a little echo. Okay. I was born in eastern Tennessee, actually in a 2-room, 10-roofed cabin This is where my book is situated, and all of my heroine Keely's adventures are in some way tied to Appalachia. The Great Smoky Mountains, the heavy fog and mist on the hills, the strong family ties, the schools that lacked everything, poverty, illiteracy, bullies, bootlegging, that was my granddad. I draw upon my relatives' memories and tales of events and characters that pepper my book. This is my core, it is my roots. My first tip for you writing your masterpiece is write what you know. Always start with something that is totally you. Your location, your characters, or factual events that everyone knows are facts. For example, things that are happening in real time, like 9/11, COVID breakout, COVID lockdown, the moon landing. Tie them to events in your book, and then the events that in your book, people can say, oh, that happened. Then they think that the events in your book really happened also. It's something I learned a long time ago. Your story, it makes your story plausible, believable, and then add the fantasy, and the readers accept everything as truth. Whether it's that unicorns can fly, mythical beasts talk, the wind breathes, the sands are alive, your masterpiece is born. Like an example, my story began the day that they stomped on the moon. Well, you know when that story started, right around 1967. Your passion, your beliefs will shine and convince readers that you know what you're talking about. Words bring your story to life, and they paint the background and infuse the actions of the moment. The more your details are grounded in facts, the more relatable your book will be, even in a fantasy. You start with the facts, like I said, and then wrap the fantasy around them. The following is a detailed description of Maggie, Keely's mother. Keely is my heroine, and the details enable one to picture her exactly. Keely's mom, I pulled this up so I can see the words. Keely's mom looked like a faded out antique photograph. Her face was scrubbed and off color, but her hair was shoulder length, mousy brown, wispy, and frizzed like clouds of cotton on a humid day. It was the huge gray lilac eyes that froze the sadness, long lashes shading her pain, and downturned lips that quavered in a set frown. She was dressed in an everyday outfit, a long gray and black smock with alternating stripes, one of black, the next of gray, with bumpy pin-dot-sized white specks hanging outside in over knee-patched, baggy overalls, once worn by her father. So big, they fell off her hips. Your grandmother is dead. I left Appalachia at a young age, but that remains part of who I am and the stories and characters that I continue to draw on for inspiration. I often look at old photos to remember the past. My major areas of study at the University of Washington in Seattle were elementary education, Norwegian, and English. My first teaching job, and therefore the job that influenced me the most all of my career, was at a non-graded primary school for gifted and talented children. I taught students 4 to 9 in a and reading was and remain my focus for my entire teaching career. My personal goal with teaching, writing, advising, and counseling is and always will be to intrinsically motivate kids to read. After graduate school, my husband accepted a job in Bangkok, Thailand, working for the U.S. government, and after 2 years, he joined the U.S. Department of State Foreign Service, and we spent the next 32 years living and working in 12 different countries. And I continued to jot down lots of adventures on little pieces of paper, and I turned these little ideas that I would jot down into stories. In several countries, I was a reading specialist, a resource teacher in the international schools. Many students were learning disadvantaged with diagnosed problems. They have what they call IEPs, individual educational plans. And I was the one who worked with them, often teaching first grade phonics to ninth graders, who for whatever reason did not learn to read when they were supposed to. But then it was my turn to teach them, and I loved it. And so did my kids. I like to think that we were in sync. My number one job was to be a reading specialist to these kids. My personal goal was to motivate these kids to love reading. If kids read well, they can succeed academically. They will have the most important key. And if they don't read very well, please do everything in your power to help them improve it. Hire a tutor that they trust. Read to them more often. Ask the librarian to help you choose high-interest, low-vocabulary books, comics, magazines. You want them to have success reading, and it's vital to intrinsically motivate them to read. You want them to reach the point where they do it because reading is something they want to do, not something they have to do. Perhaps to begin with, when you're trying to get someone to read, or they're doing it to please their parents, or to get good grades, or to earn $10 a book. We call it bribery, and it works. But once that they become hooked on what reading does for them, you don't have to bribe them anymore. They do it because they love it. They do it because they're learning every time they open a book. Wow, what am I going to learn in this book? It makes them feel good. They want to learn more. Reading is just super key. When you read to them, one thing that I used to do is, well, I still do, have your child imagine or guess what's going to happen next. You finish a chapter, you finish a page, and then stop reading and go, oh, what's going to happen to Keely next? What's going to happen to her? And let them guess the answer. And then read the answer. Is it the one that they guessed, that they imagined? Or is it another totally different reason that's on there? You want them to be able to tap into their imaginations and come up with creative examples to solve simple and complex problems. You all have a super opportunity this weekend to be introduced to a huge variety of books. My advice, take advantage of it. Fill up your kids' bookcases with fantastic books. Have the authors write a note to each of them. Make it special. Make a game of it. If your kids are here, let them choose the books. Let them pick up one. Let them shake the hand of an author. I'd be glad to shake your kids' hands. But the most important thing, a rule to always remember, and this is something I learned several years ago, imagination is more important than knowledge. Albert Einstein said that. Did you know that? Do you know Albert Einstein? Pretty smart guy. And he's the one, what, E equals MC squared. That's what I know about Albert Einstein. But if you agree with Albert Einstein, raise your hand. Good. Remember that. Imagination. Guys, got it, guys? Imagination. Must do tip number 2. Use lyrical language to inspire readers. Choose unusual words to describe the scene or the characters. Make the words flow. Breathe life into them. Look at the scene inside of your mind. Picture it. Pick out the ordinary and try on various words for effect, for a different response from your reader. Decide the reaction that you want from your readers. Is it joy? Is it sadness? Is it sorrow? Is it forgiveness? Is it love? Find words to describe your desired outcome. Here is an example of use of lyrical language from my book. Boy, I sure hope she's not as scared as I am, thought Keely as she pedaled over the ground, still covered with that crunchy ice snow, the kind that's no good for snowmen or snow angels and is only good for ice stomping. Earlier in the day, Keely and a couple of younger neighborhood friends went ice stomping, leaping from one step to the next, crunching the ice into gigantic footprints throughout the carcass. Then they swirled around and tracked the monster to his lair. Keely's tires bumped in and out of the giant's footprinted path. She thought she heard the stomping of the monster pursuing her and pedaled even more furiously, never realizing that the thumping noise was not coming from behind her, but was within her. Rarely seen sapphire yellow moonlight streamed over the stables, and fireworks of stars exploded across the wintry sky. Orion's belt uncinched, and the Big Dipper brimmed with rainbows. Keely reached the stable door at the same moment as Simon. I came, Keely. I heard you call my name. Do not be afraid. It'll be all right. But it wasn't. Must do tip number 3. Give your characters unique voices. Use your imagination. How do you think an ancient unicorn should talk? With a rattle or a hissing echo from afar? What about the mythical dragon? Can you see and hear smoke coming out of his ears? Think of patterns of speech that you want to adopt and give them their voice. It will make your creations unique, limited only by your own imagination. The different creatures not only had unusual patterns of speech, but also accents. Perhaps they have a French-Canadian accent. Maybe they stutter or giggle when they talk. Perhaps they go row or cough in a syncopated rhythm. The following excerpt is from Meowcher, a huge, black-faced calico cat, one of Keely's main cohorts, constant companion. Y'all did, purred Meowcher. It was obvious that Meowcher was a southern belle feline, a charmer. She spoke slowly, pulling her words into 2 syllables instead of 1. She sashayed instead of walked, and minded her manners when she drawled her thank yous and y'alls. Her owners had rescued her from an animal shelter where she had been dumped by folks down on their luck. as Meowcher was fond of saying. She fell into that gorgeous category, and her distinctive, dainty speech, full of y'alls and missing ings from the ings, made her mysterious. Her previous owners were a wealthy business family who lost their money in the downtimes. They deserted their mansion on a hill, the town, and Meowcher. From the day that Meowcher was rescued, she created an attachment with her new family and bonded immediately with the scruffy Growler. Growler was in the film that you saw here, becoming his constant companion on daily hunts in the neighborhood. His gravelly voice reminded Meowcher of jazzy blues singers who used to perform in outdoor summer concerts in New Orleans, which she attended every year with her former owners. Meowcher had been born in New Orleans, and her owners had bought her from a cat breeder on one of those summer trips. She listened to a Louis Armstrong imitator, and someone called Tina, as in Tina Turner. She listened to them growl together and over a microphone that first trip. And Meowcher's love for jazz purring and growling was born. Must do tip number 4. I'm almost done here. Show your passion. Whatever your passion is, whether it is your stance against bullying or against racism or a belief in religion, in meditation, give us a glimpse and let the reader fill in the blanks. Be subtle, be sweet, or just lay hints. You don't need a sledgehammer. And in the end, as Paul McCartney wrote, just let it be. As a writer, one of the most difficult things I had to do was to literally let it be. My manuscript, that is. I would keep fine-tuning it, revising it, making changes, adding plot lines, and then deleting them. Fiddling, without my violin, which is a good thing, because I don't play very well. My husband, Rob, standing right over there, is my Let It Be advisor, one whom I listen to usually. He would advise me, and I quote, Toby, just let it be. Put the baby to rest. And finally, I could put the baby, my manuscript, to rest. I currently have other babies in this process. I wish all of you masterpiece writers best of luck in putting the babies to bed, to rest. One additional rule for always is when you're looking for someone to represent you as an agent, an editor, a publisher, always consider choosing one who comes across as genuine, helpful, trying to find solutions that will work the best for you as well as themselves. Ones who go the extra mile to find the perfect fit for you and your books. I looked for a very long time before choosing a company to handle my book. Two of the reasons are Aljo and Harvey Freeman. Both are extremely responsive, hardworking individuals who enjoy their work. And to put it simply, I trust them. Thank you. Any questions? Oh, there gotta be some questions. I highly recommend my book. It is an adventure. I think it's received some really good new reviews, all of which are kind of on the back of the book
Hello.
here. And so
Good, how are you?
it's kind of an exciting time for me. And I'm really glad that
Did you
all
check the
have
front
come
door
today.
there?
I know what I was going to say. If you look at the
Oh, okay,
illustrations,
thank you, dear. Thanks so much.
some of these illustrations, basically
What's up?
they
Sorry.
draw you straight into the story. They are magnificent.